than a cup of coffee, I'm not gonna lie. Today on The Good Stuff, we are all about making life a little simpler and getting things done quickly, all without breaking the bank. Now, all week long, we have been celebrating being back for season 2 with my 2-for-1 recipes. Basically, we're making one recipe 2 different ways. And today, to stick with that cheap and easy theme of the show, I wanted to show you my fave, totally comforting pantry staple dinner that I make anytime time is tight. We are making beans on toast. Listen, this is an excellent audience because I thought I was gonna have to sell beans on toast to you. But beans on toast is so good. It's basically, you open up a can of beans, you add some deliciousness, and you end up with something that is so comforting, so tasty, and perfect for like fall weather as we get into that. Now, we're gonna start making it 2 different ways, but right now we're gonna start with like a fancy beans on toast, and I'm very excited about it. Yes. So, because I feel like this is a fancy audience, so we've got to. So the one that we're making now is actually mushrooms and beans on toast. So I love a mushroom. So we're actually gonna start over here with a good amount of mushrooms. So I'm using a mixture here. I've got some shiitake, I got some oysters, I've got some cremini. I'm just gonna give those a little bit of a chop. Now with the cremini, you can quarter them, you can have them however you wanna do it. Just pop those aside. And then with the other mushrooms, anytime I'm buying like a fun mushroom, I don't even really like to chop it. I more like to tear it up. I find things like shiitakes and oyster mushrooms, they just get really nice and kind of gnarly when you don't pay too much attention to them. Like keep it easy, keep it breezy on yourself. Beans on toast is all about saving you time, saving you money, and making people think you tried harder than you did, which is my favorite type of recipe. All right, so I've got some creminis here. Now for those oysters, again, they tear absolutely beautifully. Just kind of rip them apart. Those are gonna be beautiful. I'm actually gonna start ripping them into the pan. So I'm gonna pop these in here. We're gonna go over to the pan. Now, anytime I'm cooking mushrooms, I actually like to start them in a dry pan. I don't put any oil in, no butter yet, because mushrooms, despite the fact that they feel kind of dry and weird, are actually full of moisture. They've got a good amount of liquid in there. So starting them in a dry pan helps to like remove that moisture without searing it in and locking it in there. Helps them cook down, get a little bit caramelized, and you can already hear, let me see if I get my mic close to it. Can you hear that? I feel like at home people can maybe hear this, or maybe not, and that's okay. You can hear the moisture starting to cook out of those mushrooms. This is one of my favorite kitchen sounds, because once they really start going, it almost sounds like a basketball game. They squeak like sneakers on a basketball court. It's a really good kitchen sound. Things that thrill me, very, very boring, very exciting. All right, so I've got my mushrooms in my pan, and to help kind of remove some of that water, I'm gonna add in some salt, just to season that up. I'm also going in with a little bit of pepper, but that's just for flavor. All right, I'm gonna let those mushrooms start doing their thing, and we're gonna talk toast. Because when you're doing something as simple as beans on toast, you actually wanna pay attention to what you're doing with that bread, just to make sure it tastes delicious. So I've got 2 pieces of toast here. This is like a nice seeded sourdough. You can tell it's a sourdough because I feel like sourdough always kind of looks like a bunny. You know what I mean? Like there's the ear, there's this little body, we got it. Now, I wanna give this a little bit of delicious garlicky flavor. Now, as opposed to doing something like making a garlic butter, what I'm gonna do on this hot toast is grab a garlic clove and just trim a little bit off the end. That exposed bit of garlic rubbed right over that hot toast gives you the slightest amount of, right? This is an excellent audio. Y'all are doing great. That little bit of heat just brings that garlic flavor out. It makes it super tasty. This is also something good to do anytime you're wanting to jazz up your breakfast or something. It immediately smells like garlic and it's great. Now that toast is done, so I'm gonna plate it onto my plate and we're gonna get back to those mushrooms. Now I am gonna take this little piece of garlic with me. Now I've got some mushrooms here that are already cooked down, and as you see, all those big beautiful mushrooms, so much of the liquid has reduced. They get really cooked down and tiny and really moorish. Now we're gonna add in some fat. Now I'm gonna use butter. You could also do oil. Just about a tablespoon of butter goes right on in just to start melting down. We gotta get a bit of heat on there. And then for additional flavor, you don't have to do this, but since I've already cut that piece of garlic, I'm just gonna grate it right into those mushrooms to give that little bit of kind of extra deliciousness right on into that pan. Now, tap that right in, give that a bit of a stir. Hopefully we get some heat on this baby. Listen, this burner, does anyone else have a favorite and least favorite burner? Fun fact, least favorite burner. I use it every time, and we got it. All right. Give that a nice stir up. That butter's starting to melt. This is where you're gonna get caramelization and beautiful flavor. Now, anytime I add garlic to something, I only want it to cook for about 30 seconds to a minute just to pull back that garlic flavor. So I'm now gonna go in with my beans. Now, I'm using a can of drained and rinsed white kidney beans here. You could do this with chickpeas though, that would be beautiful. I'm gonna add those on into the pan. Again, crank that heat up, ultra high, my foot. We got it out. All right, give that a stir. And then I'm gonna add in some broth. Now, for the broth, I'm gonna use a veg broth, but you could easily use chicken if that's what you've got hanging around. Also, I'm not gonna lie, if you wanna use like bouillon powder or that bouillon you get in a jar, go for it. Super easy, doesn't go bad, you can keep it for pretty much ever. You want about 1.5 cups of that broth. Now, since there's beans in there, those beans are gonna kind of like give a little bit of starch into the liquid, so it should thicken up pretty quickly. I'm gonna start with just a little bit, because we're on TV and we gotta go fast. So I'm gonna give that a stir, and I just want that to come up to a little bit of a simmer. That's gonna be absolutely beautiful. Once that comes up to a simmer, I'm gonna stir in some herbs. So let's go chat herbs. So over here, I have got a mixture of any herb I could find, whatever's hanging out in your drawer. I've got a bit of parsley, some sage, we got some oregano, some thyme. You can use any or none, whichever you're feeling. I'm going in with some parsley though. I like that bright green fresh flavor. Think a little bit of thyme. Thyme and mushrooms, absolutely delightful. Now, if you're trying to get thyme leaves off, just grab one end and just pull down, and you get all those beautiful leaves off, leaving that woody stem behind, similar to rosemary or things like that. That's perfect. You want about 1/4 cup-ish of herbs. What should I do? Should I do oregano or sage? Sage. Oh, you know what? I'm gonna do both. We're gonna be good. Yeah. Do we feel sage? I'm gonna do oregano in the next one. How about that? Okay, cool. A little bit of sage in there as well, just some beautiful bright green color. Give that a nice chop. I love using fresh herbs. Honestly, anytime, as you'll notice, I give you a measurement for fresh herbs, I'm kind of lying. Use as much as you want. You know what I mean? Because otherwise they turn into like goo in your pan or your crisper. All right, we got some simmering going on over here, looking beautiful. We've got a little bit of thickening going on. I'm gonna stir in those herbs. This is almost like a really thick, delicious mushroom and bean stew. It's so tasty. Now I'm gonna take this off the heat, and we're gonna come over here, and we're gonna finish off this beans on toast situation. So we've got those beautiful beans cooked down a little bit, heated through with those mushrooms. I'm gonna spoon those over top. Like, look at how pretty that looks already. Now, for some added tastiness, I'm going on with a little bit, I'm a goat cheese gal, and especially when we get into the colder weather, a little bit of goat cheese. You could also do feta on there. Maybe a little bit of chili, which is always tasty. And then, of course, because we're fancy, some olive oil, just for fun. Like, that to me looks absolutely amazing. And I'm very excited about it. I make a thing called pizza beans at home all the time, so I thought, why not just pop it on toast and make it a meal? So again, starting with the toast. We've got our beautiful toast here, toasted, and we're gonna do the same thing that we did earlier. Again, cut a little bit of that garlic off and give it a rub. Especially when you're doing anything with tomato, garlic on your bread tastes absolutely amazing. I don't know if anybody's ever tried pan con tomate or tomato toast, but basically you get a fresh tomato, grate it on the big side of a box grater. The skin stays on one side. You get this beautiful fresh tomato pulp. That's spooned over this bread. Amazing. You got a bonus recipe today, everybody. Great job. All right, now I'm actually gonna leave this toast on this pan because we're not quite done with it yet, but I'm gonna head on over to my pan and I'm gonna get to work on the kind of pizza bean situation. So in the pot, I'm gonna add in about 1 tablespoon of olive oil. Are we hot? Oh yeah, we're hot. We did it, guys. All right. Now into there, I'm gonna add in my garlic. I'm just gonna give that a little bit of a chop up, just a smash and a chop. I'm usually a rasper with garlic, but today, you know what? I'm gonna slice it. Fun fact with garlic, if you slice it, it actually, once you cook it, tastes a little bit sweeter than minced garlic. I know, it's weird. The more you cut it, the more peppery and spicy it kind of gets. So if you want a softer garlic flavor, just little slices is perfect. Give that a bit of a stir. And again, just like with the minced garlic, you only want this to go for about 30 seconds. You don't want it to brown too much because then you get burnt garlic flavor and we don't want that. Now into there, I'm already realizing I've made a huge mistake because I'm wearing a white shirt because we're about to add a can of tomatoes. So we're gonna do a little bit of this. And then we're going in with a can of crushed tomatoes. Ooh, ooh. Okay, she's hot, okay. We got it. Y'all, that is a hot pot. That's where the heat went. We've got it. All right, just give that a stir. That's beautiful and coming together. So now I'm gonna chuck in my beans. Again, I am using a can of drained and rinsed kidney beans, but again, chickpeas, beautiful. If you wanted to use red kidney beans, I'm not your mom, go for it. You do whatever you want. But I always have these on hand. They're good and neutral and super tasty, so toss those babies in. Then what I'm gonna do is add in those herbs. Like before, I promised all those oregano heads out there. I'm gonna add some oregano into here. So I've got about a teaspoon of oregano already finely chopped up, 2 tablespoons of basil, as well as about 2 tablespoons of parsley. I like a really herby kind of tomato sauce when I'm going into this. So just add all of that right on into the mix. Now I like a little bit of heat on my pizza. When I get like a slice, I'm always that one with the chili flakes on the side, scattering those on. So I'm going in with about half a teaspoon of chili flakes. Again, standing very far back, we're blipping away. Ooh, okay. It's like a witch's brew. Okay. Give that a mix together, and honestly, that's already come to a simmer, so that's looking beautiful. So I'm gonna take that off the heat now, and we're gonna go back over to that toast. Now, what I'm gonna do now is a delight. This is how we pizza bean this toast. If I were just doing pizza beans, I would scatter cheese on top of these beans, pop it in the oven, and it's like a dip, and it's really good. But to make this into a meal, just grab those beans with that beautiful tomato, pop it onto that toast. This is almost like, I don't know if anybody remembers pizza bagels, like that, but it adds that little bit of protein in there. Good for kids, I feel like. I feel like that would be absolutely beautiful. I would devour this no matter what age I am. Then we're gonna add on some beautiful cheese. Now I'm going in with like brick mozzarella. So about half a cup on each piece. Just really cheese it up. Now we wanna, this is an audience that like speaks to my heart. This is going into the broiler just for about 2 to 3 minutes, just until that cheese is melty and ooey and gooey. And then you end up with something that looks like pizza toast, which is very exciting. All right, little bit melty, totally delicious. I'm gonna transfer that right onto the plate. Extra beans, extra cheese, little bit of that action. And then for a bit of green, let's pop a little bit of pesto on there, shall we? It's just some store-bought pesto, one of my favorite little hacks, just a little bit of a drizzle right on top. And you have got the tastiest beans on toast I've ever seen in my whole entire life. And we have 3 people from England in the audience today, so I'm gonna ask them later. But I'm gonna give this a taste because I can't wait. I'm going in for pizza beans, obviously. Okay, 1, 2, 3. Oh yeah, get pizza beans in your life. Hey, Mary here. What did you think? Drop your comments below and don't forget to like and subscribe for more of the good stuff.